Welcome to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit, a platform where we have invited Spirit to share messages, healings, and transmissions with all of us. May this energetic experience help us to expand our awareness and to deepen the relationship we have with our higher self, our spiritual team, and with Source, however we define them. Thank you for being here and for taking part in this amazing journey. Welcome back to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit Season 5. This is Episode 3 with Shannon Johnson. Shannon, if you listen to my podcast, if you listen to the recordings from the CSVS, you'll notice that she's a regular here. She and I became friends during a past life regression class that we took together. And she's actually a big reason that I wanted to learn how to channel. I've talked about this in previous seasons, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but I value and appreciate the friendship that she and I have. And I'm always excited to see what the cool council has to share with us. Their wisdom is always really, really cool to play with. So Shannon, I'll let you introduce yourself and then we will go from there.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm really glad to be here today. I'm glad I made it. Oh boy. My name is Shannon Johnson, and I am a medium, an author, a healer. I am a Reiki master as well as a pranic healer. I like to dabble into all of the etheric studies. I do all kinds of different spiritual work. And I love doing these summits because it allows an opportunity for the Cool Council to speak. The Cool Council, COOL is an acronym for the Chief Overseers of Life Planning. And this group came to me in 2015, about mid-year, and I was getting ready to write one book, and they said, oh, well, we're going to do something else. And so we ended up trans-channeling 44 sessions, 3 hours each over 3 years with a friend of mine in Canada over Skype, and produced the book, The Stone Wisdoms from the Cool Council. And this was a gift from Spirit to help us enjoy life more and live more happy about why we chose the character we are currently, and not wish we were somebody else all the time. Isn't that fun? They're always like, if you only understood, you people talk about college and all that stuff. Man, you guys take like years, sometimes centuries creating the character you are. And then you get there and you're like, I want to be Kim Kardashian. And they're like, no. Your character's beautiful because you created it. You picked it. You designed it just to be you. So it's an amazing thing. And it was very, very humbling in my life to work with them and continue working with them. So for me, trance channeling, I disappear. I don't remember what they say. It comes back to me in glitches, especially in dreams, or I'll hear a conversation and I'll be like, I think I heard that before. So I don't like to listen. It's very different seeing another character talking out of your own body. Something different. But they've become a real treasure to me to work with, and I feel very blessed that I get the opportunity to share them with others. So I also do a podcast on that we're trying to move along little by little, and I'm hoping that's going to become a little bit more regular and a bigger idea eventually. But I am just your regular old lady, right? I didn't pick this in the beginning of my life. I used to do accounting, and then one day things in your life change, and Spirit walked in the door in 2010 and said, "Hey, you ready to work?" Everything changes when they do that. So don't ever be surprised and or think that you are on the wrong path, because you're exactly on the path you need to be exactly where you're going to end up finding everything Spirit has for you. Um, I'm about to disappear.
They're
So,
pushing you out already.
yeah. Um,
So what Spirit is doing right now and pushing Shannon out of the way is a big reason that I created this platform. They were an inspiration for me to create a space to give Spirit a voice, because I saw examples like this where Shannon would be talking and all of a sudden she would say, "They're pushing me out of the way," or "I can't really talk for much longer because I can feel them, wanting to come forward." And so that was a big inspiration for me to create this platform, which I'm not sure if Shannon even knew that, but
no, it didn't.
so giving Spirit a voice is because Shannon's team pushes her out of the way, literally, to kind of, talk to us. And so that was a big motivator for me. That's what was the inspiration behind this project. Shannon, you'll notice when she comes back, it takes her a while to get back into her body. So I'm not sure how much more we'll be able to chat with her afterwards, but it's always fun to play with her in that half present state. So I'll just give her a moment to connect. And we don't know who's coming through. At least I don't know who's coming through. She has a team that comes through. I'm familiar with a few of them. Some of them will speak through others because their vibration is such that it's difficult for them to connect with Shannon directly. So they will speak through others that connect through Shannon directly. But it's always fun to play with her team. As always, if you guys have any questions or comments, raise your hand or put a comment or question in the chat, and I'll do my best to share that. To our friends coming through, take your time, no hurry.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And good evening, where you are.
Good morning.
I'm
good
Ezra.
evening.
I'm her primary guide, and I decided to come in first. Because I'm gonna adjust her a bit. But I want to start talking about the topic that we threw at her, even though she didn't realize it. So, navigating the pitfalls of life. And today it is a full moon with a Scorpio eclipse. Isn't that fun on the earth? So, it was a perfect time for us to be able to step forward today and talk about some of the insanity that you're dealing with and how to be able to not let it drag you down into those dark pits that, sometimes feels like you're in tar, can't get out of it. But we have a couple speakers for you today. I'm just getting her a little more prepared physically. So, because we have two others, and one of them is a very special guest today, but hang on. So, navigating the pitfalls of life. Every lifetime on an earth venue, and we're specifying the earth venue. You guys go to concerts and you're like in the amphitheater and you're in the stadium and then you're in the little pub and all this kind of stuff. Think of your lifetimes and the different planets that you explore, kind of like that. They're different venues, different concerts. But every single one has different types of challenges that your soul thought was like the greatest thing ever, even though your personality is like, holy shit, what did I do to myself? But it's all good, right? Because You're still existing, aren't you? You're still kicking it and you're on Earth. That means you've done pretty damn good so far on all those other places you've been to. Because Earth, it ain't easy. It's not easy on purpose. But your humanity also assumes and takes on the burden that humanity has to suffer because you're an emotionally based being on this planet. And some people use emotions as manipulative tools, and others use them as motivational tools. Everyone is right, and everyone is able to do what they need to do. Because guess what? Y'all picked who you are. That's the fun stuff. So, are you ready to hear a little more?
Bring it on.
We're going to change team members. Tag, the next one's it.
Welcome.
Thank you, Dan. This is Anne. I am one of the leads of the Cool Council. I speak for the elders. I am in the hierarchy of the Akashic Records, and I speak for the life planners and the Akash. But every one of you has had some inkling of going to. There's always something in a dream that reminds you of the library. And remember, the library changes for everyone because it is as you need to see it when you're in a body. So, the navigations of the pitfalls. Ezra did a nice little intro on that, but we want to expand further. And that's why I decided it was a good time for me to come forward and speak from this perspective of the elders and the Akash. Understand that all of the universe, not just God, not just you, every single being in the universe learns from the experiences you are having. Whether it's you stubbed your toe and you cussed like hell, you gave birth to a child, you're drowning in the pit of sorrow. Every experience, we all get to experience it. It is within the universal energy. It is within the records, the recorded frequencies of your being, which is a part of all of us, you see? So I know that Shannon, the personality, has suffered in her life. If I had not experienced Earth lifetimes before, and I was preparing a new soul to go there, I would bring them into the Akash and help them to experience through others' memories what those sensations can be like, what those interactions can be like, and help prepare them for the roles that they want to choose. You see? Every council member has an attribute that works with you. And so when you're navigating the pitfalls that were in your life that are current, some of them are collective pitfalls to help everyone begin to navigate in new ways, because it doesn't just change what's happening here on the planet. It helps us as a universe, all in the universe, you see? So you may be having a depression because life has gotten kind of shitty, right? You've got a lot of pressure on you guys right now. Everything is so intense. You know, there's not even just the simplicity anymore being focused on. Everything is huge right now. And sometimes each of you feels like you are so small and so minute and you can't change a thing. How can I change something if my own life just seems like it's in a shambles? The pitfalls are where you shine, you see? These are moments, whether it's individual, collective, small community, large community. This is where you actually shine the most. You know why? The idea when you hit into the pitfalls, one of the first things a human does, they open their heart. They look at their hearts. They look at the feelings that they're feeling. When you're out just wandering in the grocery store, you're not thinking about it. But when you are in those moments that hurt, that are difficult, sometimes you feel like you're on a bit of a maze. Humans do a heart check-in. When you all begin to move more from the heart space, not the mind, when the heart is open and telling the mind how to move within, this is when you change not only yourself and how you handle the navigations of those pitfalls, it's also how you change humanity. It's also how you change your planet. It's how you change everything in the game. Because guess what? Your heart has more compassion than all the other things the mind wants to throw into your path to disrupt that compassion that you are able to give to yourself and to others, right? We often are looking over here for my answers. You might be looking over here. The answer is always right here in the heart space. Sometimes humans want to take it literal, but we will tell you that yes, the physical heart also carries all of your emotional damage. So if you've had a very difficult life and you have just kept all of those emotions into this tight bottle inside of you, it's literally going to explode. And it's going to explode in your heart because it doesn't allow the openness. It is stuck energy. It are things that no longer served you, but you've been holding on to it so tightly because it's known. It's easy to be argumentative. It's easy to be hateful. It is easy to be filled with sorrow. Humans don't think that, but it truly is the easier way to pick and pop and just stick. Humans often do this in the mirror. That is easy to do. That's why pitfalls seem like they're every step in the path. Who paved this road? It's just potholes everywhere. Well, honey, we didn't create that road. You did. And guess what? You have the tools to fill those potholes. You don't need them. You have the tools to change everything about how that road is paved. And all it takes is a moment to come inside and see the beauty. Every pitfall creates a new beauty within you, something that often is unseen until you find another who's suffering as you did. And suddenly that beauty shows up because the compassion in you understands. And you go, let me help you. Even if I cannot help you out of your pitfall, I can hold the space knowing that you can come out of it too, because I did. The more that humans begin to understand that every single one of you needs each other, every single one of you is so unique and beautiful. There is nothing but love to create. Sadness and sorrow and hurt and pain and hatred and anger. They are tools. They are moments of emotional processing. But you don't have to live there. You don't have to suffer your entire life because this one thing happened to you. But this happened to you. It is when you can begin to look at yourself in the mirror and navigate that pitfall to see how beautiful and amazing the gorgeous gem that you are from that experience. You are the diamonds. You are the pearls. We made her pull out her pearl ring. She didn't understand why, but we made her pull it out today to wear because we wanted you to be reminded the simplicity and the beauty that can be created, right? That shell that goes through, swallows so much sand, it's pushed about in the ocean. Sometimes it leaves its home and it's millions of miles away in another beach. And yet, through all of its tumultuous life, it creates a beauty that can be held. It's simple, and yet it's divine. You have this all over your planet, and you see it in other forms, simple like this, simple like a diamond like this, but yet you struggle to see it in the mirror. And this is where we pull you to. The navigation of the pitfalls in life is the pathway to see the pearl that you are, the diamond that all of these experiences have created. And we, as the universe, as the entire body of all, we get to enjoy that beauty too, through you. Not just when you're in dead and your memories come to the Akash, not just then. No, no, no. It is in the everyday, in the every moment that we get to experience. When you call us in, you call us close, whether it is your loved ones, your guides, maybe some of us from the ascended teams, as you call us all. Call us close. We love to spend time with you, not just helping you dust off the mud and grime of hurts, but in the moments of joy, the moments that make you laugh. All of these, all of them are little treasures. They are the sand that makes you the beautiful pearl. And we love to experience it. We love to experience it through you. Not just, don't think that because someone is finally reached the point of not incarnating, that we don't still enjoy connecting with you. We have no hierarchy. You are our beautiful ones. You are our brave warriors. You change worlds. You create magic. You are exactly what you have been waiting for. So stop waiting. Stop waiting. Stop wishing for it to be someone else. And realize that every piece of you makes the difference in every day for the entire planet and the universe itself. Because no one else is you. Only you are. That is your uniqueness. It's what makes you so special. It's also why we cheer so much when we see you rejoicing, when we see you coming out of those pits and being like, yes, I made it. I survived that. It didn't break me. It made me stronger. Is that not what you say on the planet? Every bit that seems to knock you down, you're stronger every time. You're beautiful every time. And it is your preciousness that we love to behold in those moments. So don't feel so distraught. We wish for you to see that the hiccups, the pitfalls, you can always change how you approach them. Sometimes add a little, hey, won't be so muddy. Maybe you need to add a little more water so it's a little easier to push through. Yes, these are metaphors, darling, because every situation you need to approach it with an open heart. So that way you can truly see the beauty of the experience. Humans like to want to protect it. They fear the heart. That's why they try to put such big barriers on the outside. But truly, just because your heart got hurt once, maybe twice, maybe many, many, don't close it, darlings. Open it more. Make it bigger. Let it flow. Because that is the beauty of the game. The more that you're able to allow yourself openness, the more magic you will feel in your life. The more you will be telling people, I love you, because you're seeing them from your heart and not from the facade, the mind, and the ego want to put in front of you. It doesn't matter if it's the pauper, if it's the prisoner, if it's the princess, or the putz, okay? We all have a putz in our life too, and that's okay. Because guess what? You're a putz for somebody too, darling. That's the fun of being a character in the game. You get to be flawed and you get to make mistakes and you get to fall down and you get to get back up. And you get to be an asshole for one person and you get to be the most amazing gift giver or lover to another. When you can see all of the facets of yourself as the beauty they are, then you can embrace the role you're playing And you can love the image in the mirror beyond the facade and see your true heart of you. And begin to see the world from this place, and you will see the heart of others. Begin to open up to you too. It's a tough place to be, our lovely Earth. And our lovely, beautiful Gaia, she is growing and she is changing and she is developing into another amazing evolution of herself. And we're trying very hard to help humanity be able to change with her. And what we gift you today, we hope you take, because that is how you help her change, as well as yourself, as well as the collective. And you see it all from the beauty of the love that you can share. Sometimes it takes greater strength. Listen to me carefully. It takes greater strength and compassion to love than to hate. I love you. We love you. We have one other to come forward. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Always an honor to have you, Anne.
Thank you.
Welcome. Take your time.
I'm Frances.
Hello, Francis.
I
Welcome
haven't
back.
come through in a while, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity. Just a moment. So, Franklin and Francis, there are the two of us. Franklin has spoken before, and we're a little unique. We have revealed this in the past, so it is okay for us to discuss. So Francis and Franklin and I, we used to be one soul. Through our incarnations, we actually ended up becoming two separate souls through our development. We did many, many incarnations as what you would call twins. We expanded our energy into the point of allowing a separation to happen and become two separate identities. We are considered Time Lords in Earth language. So our job is to watch over timelines in all dimensional spaces related to Earth. We specialize on Earth. We do have two other planets that are in formation that we will be overseeing their timelines as well when they are ready for actual conscious beings to be created onto those planets. But we've been working with Earth for 12,000 years. Our job is, again, as I say, we navigate the timelines, future, past, present, and all dimensional spaces related to this planet itself. And the beautiful Gaia, who is a close friend. So we step forward today about the navigation of the pitfalls in life, because your Earth your planet is changing not only in the third dimension, but through 23 dimensions in this current time period. There will be another shift of dimensional planes on the planet, but for most of you, you will be in the departure time period or already off planet by the time that happens. We have quite a game plan set up here. So know that you are on schedule. You are on time. That's quite a joke for us because we don't deal with time.
Yeah, that was very cute. It made me laugh.
Thank you. I try to have a bit of the humor. It gets a little dry though. Bear with me. I want to speak because I'm coming about the collective. Ezra did his nice little bitty, and Anne, we adore her. Much respect, my love. She speaks so much from the heart. But for us, from my perspective, worst that could happen is you blow it up and I start all over again. My work starts over, honestly. But like I said, I've already got a couple planets that I've been assigned. So Francis and Franklin, woohoo, we got to tag team that stuff. We know our channel has discussed before that you have a couple planetary alignments that are forcing your planet and all of the living beings. Understand, when the planet shifts, it's not just humans that are forced into this transitional time. It is all conscious beings. We're talking the trees, the plants, the animals, even them little tiny gooey little things in the earth. Oh, she calls them grubs. Okay. So those little things, everything evolves when Gaia evolves. There is nothing left behind because it is a collective unit. Just as the universe is a collective unit of all of us, all beings, all planets, all pieces of space in between. The same thing is for the planetary existence here. So it is your cats, your dogs, your birds, your bugs, your trees. Now we know you have a setup coming later who will be talking to our good friends, the trees. We want to acknowledge this is coming because there's valuable information being handed down from the natural elements to help humans navigate the changes of the planetary existence. But you need to listen. You tell your children all the time, don't you listen? So I'm going to say to you, don't you listen? You need to listen to the trees. You need to listen to the lamb. You need to listen with your heart, as Anne told you. Because everything that is happening is an evolution of all within this time and space. And it's going to carry through 23-dimensional planes. So you're not just changing the third dimension, babies. Yeah, doing a group. Some people talk about the other Earth, the new Earth. You are the new Earth, right here, right now. That's the transition of the 23 dimensions that you're going to be shifting. That's why it feels like, oh my God, did I put bricks on my shoulders? No, you didn't, darling. Those bricks are for you to use and make some mortar. Let's change what's happening And the more that you are able to focus on you as an individual being and cleaning up your mess, you clean up not just you in the current, you clean up you in the past timelines, the future timelines, and within those 23 dimensional planes. There is a piece of you that exists within all of them. So, ain't that fun? So, if you do this here for us, guess what? You are the player we needed in the chain of action for everything to move into its next evolution. The old paradigm, it is fighting so hard right now. My goodness, we see it keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and it's fighting and it's fighting and it's fighting. So you're doing good because that's what we need to happen. Understand the old paradigm is not going to, and we're gone. No, it's going to shrink down to a nugget, babes. Okay. Because that's about the amount of space we want to leave it to. There are some new souls that'll be incarnating on Earth. We don't mean new as in like Earth is their first experience because that would totally suck and we don't do that. So they're going to be the next evolution of souls that are ready to start being here. Some of them will need that old paradigm mucky stuff. Okay. So that's why it goes down to a nugget. It doesn't leave completely. It becomes a nugget of your society, not a full thing. And that then changes the game because you've realized that you are connected beings of consciousness and every single one of you impacts the other. When you begin to work from that heart space and you're making those connections, that old paradigm shrinks down. And that, my friends, is the game that you are playing right now. That is the now in the third dimension. Continue on your journeys. And remember, there's people you've talked to before that were not ready, who totally pushed you away, said you were crazy, all of these other things. And that's okay, right? That was the space that they were in then. And say you run into them 20 years later, tomorrow, and they look at you and they're like, my goodness, you got it going on, darling. What's with you? And you're like, look, I'm still doing the same thing. It opens another door. So when they crack it, compassion, compassion. Don't go, you were an idiot before. I'm not going to talk to you. No, because you wouldn't want that done to you either. You know, the spiritual journey is an up and down and a back and forth and a give and a take and a little wiggle here and a little wiggle there. So you have to have that same space for others, right? You wouldn't take your infant and go throw it in the pool and say, yeah, go swim 50 laps, darling. Yes. No, you would compassion. Let's take you into the water. Stunk your face a little bit. Can you hold your breath for a few moments? Steps. This is what you need with each other. So just because they weren't able to hear you and receive you before, so what if they can't take the whole pie at one time? You got to let them douse and hold their breath for, 2 seconds, and then they build up to 1 minute, right? Same concept for your people that are staying stuck or staying closed-minded, that haven't awakened yet. It's a process. Patience and compassion will help them get there. Okay? But this is going to help the dimensional planes of the timelines, parallels, and all of those good things to actually begin crisscrossing. Don't worry, they're not going to bleed into each other and all that other kind of mess. What we're allowing is the energy to cross planes as an assistance for the energetic shift of all of it, if that makes any sense. We know sometimes we talk about things that are kind of like, eh? But your quantum physics is getting there. And the more that you begin to understand that you are the energetic beings that are creating and manifesting everything that is within your existence, the more that you can begin to create a focus and a streamline. You know, if a salmon can swim upstream to go lay its eggs, you certainly can swim upstream and swim upstream, downstream, all over the little place. Don't limit yourself. Only you as an individual can limit the explorations and what you can find about yourself and everything else there is to discover. You are your own limiter. So when you begin to take that away and go, I am a limitless creator within the ocean of creation, right? You're not just the drop of water, you are the ocean and the drop simultaneously. You're the oyster shell bopping all over, getting tossed in the waves, creating the pearl. It changes how you interact. And when you begin to change how you interact with yourself, you change how you interact with everyone else around you, your environment, and the ball just gets bigger and more beautiful. And you may not be, directly hitting someone that's 5,000 miles away, but guess what? That energy that you're emitting, it does. And all of those little pieces, those moments, those memories, everything like that, as Anne said, we get to experience it at home. We can do it in the moment it happens or at any time, since we don't have time. And it helps every one of us, not just in the now, but it helps your past life people. It helps your future life people. It helps people on other planets. It helps everyone. You see yourself as so small, and we see you so big, so beautiful. So, as a person or a soul, we rephrase that is having to shift and always adjusting frequencies in timelines and dimensional planes. Trust me when I say putting one foot forward every day is a whole lot easier. And besides, you're on Earth. It's a fun game to play. Everything has a purpose to motivate you to change what is, to create what can be. You see? There's nothing that can't be created, renewed. A whole brand new world. Do you have any questions, Dan? Otherwise, we're going to let her come back.
I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you. I'll let the listeners that are live kind of put their thoughts together and see if there's a question that they would like to share with us. I do have a question, given that you play with timelines. some of us have experienced changes in our own timeline. For example, a friend of mine on her path to a certain errand, all of a sudden started finding that there was a sign that didn't used to exist in the way. And when she asked her husband about the sign, he said, "Oh yeah, that's been there always." And she was like, "No, it hasn't, because it's in the way. I would have known if it was here before." And so for her timeline, it didn't exist before, but her husband in that timeline, it had existed before. So there's been a cross and a blend of things. And I'm curious if you can kind of speak to that, because I know that some of the listeners have experienced something similar.
Yes. There are pockets. Best way to compare to human concept is bubbles of air. There are pockets of dimensional space that, like bubbles in the air, that pop in and out of other timelines. And these are from the most closest to the third dimensional time frame. So from your third parallel dimensional plane, bubbles, bloop, over, bloop, over, bloop. It's almost like a what do you call that human word? Glitch in the matrix. But what is happening, it is spatial time that bleeds through from a parallel dimensional space. Boop, boop. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense enough.
Okay.
Because I know that these conversations can get very complicated because of our limited language, yes, vocabulary, and also understanding and perspective. But I think that it gives a good enough foundation.
And rather than us trying to pull it back out, instead, from our perspective, like myself and Franklin, we would instead begin to integrate that bubble into its new placement as a permanence. So when we do that, it gets fed into all memory. All memory.
Which is
why that it always existed within the third dimensional plane of your time and space, and we duplicate it back into where it came from.
Which is why the husband believes that it's always been there, but my friend, who's a little bit more energy sensitive, recognizes the difference.
Yes. Cool. Yes. Yes.
So Esther is asking if that's the Mandela effect.
Similar. The idea of the Mandela effect came from time-spatial distortions, bubbles popping into realities that shouldn't be. So yes, the concept of it, it's just not complete.
Right. So Esther, hopefully that answers your question. Cheryl is asking, and this is a question that comes up a lot, as we have free will and we make decisions, and being human, we question our decisions. Cheryl is asking, is there no wrong way in the choices or direction one goes?
Correct. There is no wrong way.
Could you speak to that a little bit more?
Understand that the Akash, the universe, we are a collective of frequencies that are always within motion, always flexing and moving and changing. So if we can understand that this is a continual movement in this little, we're going to use a bubble, this is continually in motion because everyone that is a part of it is within a motion of um, opportunities. Things are always at play, right? So you may have set out a plan to go to the grocery store today. You woke up in the morning and you said, that is on my schedule. I am going to the grocery store today. And yet, as you're traveling the road, all of a sudden the road is closed and you have to detour. You're still going to the store, but now you've detoured. You're going over here and you're going over there. And oh, let me stop here. Oh, I didn't know I needed that, right? We're using this as a concept to understand that everything that we record is in the moment of the instant. So you have the ability of free will to change that course. You may have set to go here, but you decided to detour over here. You're still going to get to the store. You're still going to get back home. You're just going to have a bigger adventure going that direction. And you may take other detours, and that's okay because everything is within a fluctuation of frequencies. So for us, like myself, I would begin looking at the larger intersections because this is already in motion. So say you're supposed to meet Fred in 5 years, and yet the motion that you're doing here is going to change that. And Fred over here, he's doing his own free will. And he's making decisions that are adjusting that 5-year meeting. So, Time Lords like us, we begin to look at how that intersection and all of the players of that intersection, what within the timelines can shift to bring that intersection back into play. Or do we need to cue the guides that we need to go to plan B? Because there's Jack over here that is also somebody that could be a good match for you. Because you and Jack and Fred all talked about it and said, well, if I don't need Fred, I'll take Jack. Because we've all got good stuff to work on. So you see, so that's when things can then shift and we can work those timelines and work those intersections because now Fred's going to go to the other one. We're going to push you towards Jack. And we tell the guides, hey, the alignment isn't there anymore. It needs to shift. Or is there going to be another? Do we want to look at another major moment that might realign it? All we can do is put moments into play. And it is up to the players. You know, if you ever watch someone play chess, they're very thoughtful about each movement of their players on the board. We're not taking anything away from you. You are the movement of the board. You are all of those pieces, and you are the person sitting there making the decision in which move you're going to make. We, at the same time, are kind of playing that game underneath it of shifting and flowing of how can everything come back, or how does it need to change to realign to something else, to be better, recreated? it's a mm, conglomeration of collective interactions in less than a speck of time that can be monitored on your planet because we are outside of that time. You are kind of kept in this bubble that is encapsulated because you have linear time. Did I answer that at all?
I think so. And, we can always ask Cheryl. She does have a follow-up question, but I want to get to that momentarily,
Mm-hmm.
Cheryl. Give me a second, because Kelly's comment is actually in line with what you've been speaking about. Kelly says, do we create new timelines when we make significant decisions in life? Are we experiencing multiple timelines within bands of energy? Is it a meddling depending? Is it a meddling meld? Oh, sorry. Is it a
Melding.
depending on our frequency?
Yes.
Okay, so next. No. Can you elaborate for me?
We're all having a good laugh from that. So,
So let me play with this, because this is something that I've heard. There's conversation amongst us humans in the spiritual community that when we make decisions, we create a different timeline and both lifetimes continue. So we branch off and we're alive in both timelines. We just happen to be conscious of one of them. I don't know if that's something that you can kind of speak to as well, but this is in line with Kelly's question.
that one, not so much, because the physical human form struggles with how many frequencies it can hold and can manage. Um, so the split off isn't quite what happens. It's more that the you of now, okay, when you make a decision that's going to take you this way instead of that way, all it's done is it's allowed a shifting of pathways. But
I know it's complicated.
yes, yes, because part of this doesn't have human words.
Can I share something and see if I've got it more or less accurate? So the way that I've described it to people in the past is that as we make decisions, we shift the most probable possibilities into a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, when we are in energetic form, we can go into the Akash and we can see possibilities had we made different decisions.
Yes.
But those possibilities are only a representation of most likely possibilities as opposed to being the actual physical experience.
Yes. Yes.
Is that more or less?
That's more like it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 It allows you to explore what could have been. Okay. But that is what the Akash is able to provide from that non-physical space. On the planet, you're in a physical dimension space. And so when you're making a decision that is going to kind of shift on timelines, all we're going to do then really is that those other potentials begin to drop away. They don't have as much energy to them anymore. And what we can do is we can hand them off to someone else who was going to take that same direction, if that is in alignment with that person's life path. But you stay you, and you've now taken another adventure of it. So it doesn't you might be pushing into another space, but all we're going to do, like we talked about, that sign, we're going to bring that sign is into your space now as a permanent, as though it always existed, so that it doesn't disrupt timelines. You see? So from there, you can go and say, what if I would have married Fred? What would that have been like? And we'll show you how that could have played out. But it is within an ethereal space. It is not an existence.
Not in the physical form.
Yes.
So the middle part of Kelly's question is, are we experiencing multiple timelines within bands of energy?
Sometimes. Sometimes we are having glitches in the now that are allowing that. And that is part of the change of the planet's energetic body currently. You see, it's not just humanity that is doing an expansion on an energetic basis, it is also the planetary soul. So Gaia is a living, breathing being just like you. She just has a planet for a body instead of a human one. So understand that that is part of the expansion, because the goal of the shift is to allow an expansion of the dimensional space that can be experienced on the planet. Right now, you are totally closed into the second and third dimensional planes. The shift of consciousness is what is allowing then on the human side of it to then be able to experience lifetimes that will have an expanded dimensional plane to play in. It will be from the second to the sixth dimensional space. So right now, like you were asking about those bands, so this is where some of that play is happening as we're working the energy and as the planet is expanding the energy and the humans are changing the energy to allow the new paradigm to actually root itself. When you incarnate here in the 2400s, 2500s, as a human, you will think it's completely normal to see those dimensional spaces. It'll be no different. What do you mean? I get to go here. I get to, no, right? It will feel like it was no different, and you'll be looking back and going, wow, those humans back in the 2000s, man, they didn't know what they were doing. They were all
Stone Age.
Stone Age.
They were in the Stone Age.
Yes, you see. But all of you that volunteered to be here right now, you knew this was going to be part of that challenge. It's why there's so many that volunteered who from other universes as well as other planets that are part of our universe. We have a huge group. 50% of your population right now is not usually on Earth. And that percentage is going to increase over the next 5 to 10 years on your planet, because we need the human expansion to catch up to the planetary expansion. And that has to do with the right now. That is what you guys are doing right now.
Beautiful. Hopefully, Kelly, that answers your questions. I apologize that I've kind of diverted your questions elsewhere. Hopefully that touches what you were asking for. If not, feel free to put a follow-up question in the chat. So Cheryl goes back to, again, talking about the choices that we make and that there's no wrong path. So she says, so in the human mind, resistance against change is from our upbringing that's instilled at us or instilled in us from a young age. Is that correct?
It comes from fear.
Resistance against change.
Mm-hmm. It is from, it's more from fear. It is fear of being accepted. It is fear of not obeying your parental units. It is more from a fear based in the human body than it is an actual reality. A child sees more than the adults, and that's what's funny. And humans think that the adults got it all together when it's really the children that can show them the expansiveness of who they are. As you become an adult in a human body, that is where your limitations, your fears overtake and stop you and create the limits to the limitless that you actually have. Does that make sense?
Hopefully that's helpful for you, Cheryl. And if not, again, feel free to put a follow-up question. So Anna's asking a question, which she asks personally, but I'm going to generalize this. Okay. So if you could speak to Anna specifically, but also speak to us collectively, that would be appreciated. Anna asks, is there more that I can do personally to help and honor Gaia in our transition? Currently, I heal parts of Earth historically and now, and I'm learning to bring other people with me. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Anna, you are so beautiful. You are working that path so gorgeous. We're finally seeing the true you show itself. We hope you continue to light that way for many others to follow the example that you have been stepping into. Thank you. Thank you. So the planet, Gaia, the energy that lives within her, part of her expansion is cleaning and clearing the energy that has been stagnated within herself, that she has been holding for humans for way too long. Many of you are impacted by this, and you've sensed need of helping souls transition, cleaning areas, whether it's physical or energetic. And this is a pathway that is opening and opening to more. And the more that you open your heart and listen to what is around you, truly listening. Remember, humans have such a problem with listening because they want to respond. We're asking you to listen to your being, listening to the vibrations around you, the rocks, trees, the grass, the shrubs, the birds, scrubs. This is needing your attention. It is needing your love to help release and clear the blood that has been absorbed into your soil for so long. Humans have massacred each other so much that, shoot, the first 50% of the dirt is just nothing but bloody mess. It affects everything, your water, your air, your animals, your plants, your trees. Every being of consciousness is impacted through that ugliness that is living. It gets so stagnant, it actually breathes. This is the work that we've been seeing Anna begin. And many, many others of you too. We want to acknowledge this. She is not the only one. She is just speaking for you today. When you go out, look at the beauty of the planet around you. She has many scars. Send the intent through your feet. It can be so simple. Every step you walk, I heal her just that bit more. I send the blood of the past back to the universe. Simple intent from here and from here. Oh, your hearts can change and help lift and cleanse all of that stagnancy. You see, this is where the old paradigm gains power, is in that old stagnant energy. It pulls it up into itself. So why not play their game? You can use your feet, you can use your hands, you can use your intent. Lifting, cleansing, clearing the old energy, the old blood, all that is no longer serving this planet. You may serve someone on the surface, but that's who you're not concerned about who's on the surface. You're focusing about the planet. Clear, assist her in her expansion and her cleanse, and you will find amazing, amazing changes in around yourself, in the environment you are in. Our channel just noticed yesterday, she mentioned it earlier, so it's on her mind. She noticed yesterday as she was standing in her yard that there were more birds, there were more song than she had noticed at this normal time of day. She even got her little phone out to listen. And there were so many birds showing up in the recording in 4 minutes than she had ever seen before. These are changes because she has been cleaning the energy of the area around her. Because she realized if she focuses on this little bit that she has the ability to, it will carry itself out. And not realizing it until she hears this recording, she will realize that's the work she was doing, and it brought the birds to come and bless the area and tell her, thank you for releasing the muck and the heaviness so that they can now come in and bring in more light and more love energy into the area. And the trees have started talking. And she heard one that was telling her it was too heavy, there was too much heaviness. And she had her husband go out and trim. And he said, is the tree better now? And she told him, yes, Doris is very happy. She has a breeze under her feet. Simple things. Simple things. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's some of the simple things that we do, that you do. And when you call us into help, you can create a larger bit of magic.
I love, and I want to highlight this, I love the idea that with every step I take, I'm helping Gaia heal. I love the simplicity of that. And I want to share something that I do, which I learned from a conversation, I think it was with Anne actually, It was with you. It was with you guys a while ago. When it rains, so one of the messages that I was told, that we were told through you guys a while ago, is that we can work with the ley lines and shift the energy of the ley lines to help Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions that I asked was, what if we don't know what a ley line is? And I was told two things. I was told, first of all, I am a ley line.
Mm.
And the second thing I was told is that I can work with water. And so when it rains, what I do is I send out the intention of giving that rain Reiki, loving, positive, healing energy. And I infuse it with that intention as
Mm.
it's raining. And so that water will seep into every part of the world and eventually get to every part of the world. If you think about a drop of water will literally get into the oceans and move across the entire planet. So if you can set the intention of healing, loving energy into a single drop of water, you're already going to reach every single aspect of this entire planet. And so I just wanted to share that as an example of what we can do to help Gaia out. And so be creative.
Mm-hmm.
Allow your own imagination to play. The Reiki symbols with me play as cartoon characters. And so I play with the cartoon characters as I am, quote unquote, working with Reiki, which is not technically classical Reiki, but that's the way that they present themselves to me. And so that's what I play with. And so allow your creativity and your fun and your playfulness to come into your work with energy. It doesn't have to be, the drama and trauma of all of the blood and all of the, killings and murders and assassinations and wars. And I've got to work with that and clear that. And it doesn't have to be that heavy. It's more about looking at, what do you want to create? What do you want to invite? Not where it came from, not how it happened. It's more about, where are you today and where do you want to bring that energy? And you be
Right.
creative, be playful, be loving. And so I wanted to share that, which is in line with what you were saying. And like I say, you guys taught me that. So, or I got my insight because of what you guys said. So I wanted to bring that full circle.
We love that. We love that. You see?
So I'm going to put myself back on the spotlight. I know that our friend has been gone for quite a while, and we've been chatting for a long time. I just wanted to make sure that she's still okay. And as you guys know, please, help her transition, given that the three of you have channeled in. And I know that can make it a little bit more challenging for her to come back. And I would love for that limitation to start shifting. If there's a way that we can get her to accept and convince the possibility that she can transition back more easily, more gracefully. And I know that we all have our own journeys, but I'm wondering if there's something that you guys can do collectively to assist her in that transitional period when she comes back into her body.
Yes, we can. Part of her problem is because she's not doing it often enough anymore. When we were coming in, every week, it was so much easier. It was a whole lot easier for us too, because we could just whoop in. We will work with her on that. She doesn't know that we need to. We will be prompting her for some new projects, one being more with us.
So for what it's worth, I know that Shannon joined as a member of my membership community.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can always come and visit us anytime you want through that community. You have an open invitation.
We would enjoy that. We would enjoy that. She needs to commit herself to doing more. We know that she has been discussing with us many times of shifting directions or handing the plates over. There are many others she feels that may be doing the work better or could bring a better message. We've been attempting to prompt her. So we appreciate your invitation. Please, don't let it sit, we ask you, because she will.
I will encourage her often. So thank you guys for coming forward. It's always fun and an honor to have you guys come and play with us. I look forward to our next conversation within this platform and within the membership community, Playing with Spirit membership. So if you guys are interested in having a weekly conversation with us, not necessarily channeled every single week, but on these topics, on these subjects where we explore these and talk about these on a weekly basis. Shannon's team actually has asked me to be more vocal about this membership, to invite you guys to join us. And so perfect opportunity for me to share this with you guys.
Yes.
Anyway, lots of love to you.
I'm going to part with one last word.
Absolutely. I was just going to say if there's something else you wanted to leave us with.
The group of us, we want to thank you all for the opportunity to share with you. And don't forget, laugh and love. That's the way, babes. That's the way. Laugh when it hurts and love every moment you can. We love all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. So while Shannon is kind of reconnecting, I hope you guys don't mind. We're likely going to go a little bit longer. I know that we started a little bit late. And you will, it's kind of cute. You'll notice when Shannon comes back, she's not really with us. It's really cute. So we'll have a lot of fun with her when she comes back. But I do want to kind of talk a little bit about how you guys can connect with her directly. She's been featured in a new book by Richard Martini that I would love to kind of bring to your awareness. And we'll just kind of, wrap up accordingly. How are you doing, Shannon?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I can't believe the time.
Yeah. Time flies when you're
when you're gone.
when you're gone. There was a comment that was made about when you listen to this recording, you will realize that ... And I was going to say she's not going to listen to this recording, so I've got to tell her what that was. And for the life of me, it's left my mind. So I'm guessing that they want you to listen to the recording, because I get the feeling that they pulled it out of my head so that I didn't share it with you.
Probably.
Yeah. But anyway,
I got punked.
Yeah. I tried to look out for you, but I don't remember what they said. It's left me, and I was like, oh, I've got to tell her. So one thing that I will say to you is thank you as always for everything that you do for oh yes, it's about the birds in the yard after her cleaning efforts. So the birds that you noticed yesterday, you noticed a bunch of birds, much more than normal.
Yeah.
They were letting us know that that's because of all of the work that you've been doing and clearing the energy in your space. And so the birds were arriving to basically thank you for that, and also to bring in more loving energy since the space allows for it. Thank you for the reminder, Esther.
Good.
But I think they still want you to listen to it for what it's worth. So
I'll give it a try.
Anyway, So
Yeah.
I do want to talk about this book from Richard Martini, which, for those of you that are in the that are listening, that are watching the video, can you just show the book again?
Yeah.
Um, it is called The Greatest Story Never Told by Richard Martini, as told by Jesus and those who knew him. It is a book, a compilation of different channeled messages, past life regressions, in between life sessions, where they're all somehow connected and related to Yeshua's story, or Isa, as Shannon likes to call him, or Jesus, as he's more commonly known in the community. Same person, just different names.
Yep.
So Shannon had a past life regression where she was a very active member, friend, participant in the life of Jesus during the time of Jesus. And she shares that. It was a 5-hour session. She shared it with Richard Martini, and she had a 5-hour conversation with Richard Martini that is around this conversation, and all that information has been consolidated into a part of this book. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Again, The Greatest Story Never Told by Richard Martini. I'm excited to read it at some point. I've got so many books on my list that it's going to be further down, to be honest. But
all good, you know.
So,
Yeah.
I was going to say, is there something you want to say about that, or are you good?
Mm. Um, you know, so it's not a religious book. It's definitely in all, if any of you are familiar with Richard's work, he was the last one to interview Michael Newton. He got into the PLRs and LBLs as a film guy, as a researcher, not he's not a medium. He's not in, he's a guy that does research and does documentaries, produces movies. And I love his perspective because he comes from that point of view. And it's if you're challenged in your faith, I would not recommend reading it. I guess. No, I guess I don't know. I guess my head is a little screwy at the moment, but um, I think it's a book that would help anybody, even uh, the atheists, the strongest atheists, um, to reconnect to themselves, to reconnect to their own heart, not even the icon or the avatar that's talked about in the book. I think it really helps anybody who would read it, to realize that the love is always inside of us. That's where we have to look. It's not external. It's not outside. It's right here. And I am not a Jesus person, people. I was like, when I landed in that PLR, I was like, holy shit, where am I? Oh my God, no. But it happened because I was working on my healing. I was healing about why did I have this chronic pain, this injury from a car accident in 1985. Why would I choose this in my lifetime? Why would I work so hard with such a painful body? What is this serving me? So I was in that leg of the journey, and um, a friend of mine, I'd already done all kinds of different healing therapies and I'd been to all the different doctors and I've been, I mean, like take it apart and put it back together again, every different way I could. And the last thing that I hadn't had an opportunity to do was a PLR, which is a past life regression. And
And LBL is Life Between Lives, which is the trademark name for Michael Newton's work.
yes,
I am not a registered Life Between Lives practitioner, so I refer to my work as In Between Lives or Afterlife in Between Lives, which is all just a play of words because it's the same thing. My
yes,
model is based on Michael Newton's work. So a lot of my approach and the language and the direction that I use, the framework that I use is very similar to his work. But I can't call myself a Life Between Lives practitioner because I'm not certified in their
hmm
organization. So LBL is Life
yeah,
Between Lives and PLR is Past Life Regression.
yeah. So here I am, early 2015, just like I might be able to talk to spirit a little bit. I mean, this is literally where I was. I was doing readings for, $20 donations, a Snickers bar, a bottle of Pepsi, and I was like, yeah, I could do a little of that. And so one of my group members for the Stones of Wisdom group, she was doing her certification for past life regression. She was in Georgia, and she studied under Mark and was, hey, I need another person for my certification. Do you want to do this for free? And I was like, yes. Oh my God, yes. I would, you know. So we do this past life regression. We had so much trouble. Oh my God, I was doing really good up until a certain point, and then I blew the internet out on her computer. I mean, her computer would not reboot. So here I am, still under, and she had to call the house. And my mom, I have only got a cell phone last year. So my mom in her from her apartment, she answers the phone knowing I'm doing this. And my therapist is like, we're disconnected. I can't get back to her. My computer won't even boot up right now. She's like, I keep trying to. So my mom's like, and slips the phone under my ear. And I hear my therapist's voice, like, okay. And so, I'm like, okay.
And so we continue.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when she sent me the recording and the trans and everything, I was like, okay. And this is normal for people doing past life regressions and LBL sessions. And I'm really glad we're talking about this at the moment. And how I'm getting words together, I don't know. But um, it is normal to come out from one of those sessions and the next day or two, you're like, I don't know what the hell just happened. I don't think that was real. Mm, nah. There were things I heard come out of my mouth that I was like, what word is that? What language is that? I don't know. Huh? And and that happens to people. I mean, I started talking a different language in one uh, past life regression session I did with someone else a couple years later. And I started speaking a totally different language. And then she said, can you tell me that in English? And I flipped into English like that. And I went, and you're listening to your own recording going, this is why I don't like my recordings. What the hell just happened? Who was that? You're like, what? So with this one in 2015, I did that. And of course, I was like, ew, ew, no, no, this can't be true. No. And I kept asking Spirit. I was like, all right, okay, I need some clarification over here. This little person, oh, no. And then I kept thinking, I need to talk to Jamie Butler. It's like, I really need to talk to Jamie. And that's the only person I would trust at that point in time to confirm or not confirm what just happened. And at that point in time, Jamie was doing, she would have these group calls. So there was like 7 slots in this hour thing. And because that was when she was doing channeling Eric in the beginning and stuff. And you could get into these group calls. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, here it is, March 3rd, 4 days later. I'm going, I really need to find out if this was real. I open up Facebook, and the first thing on the top of my news feed is a post from Jamie Butler. New group session calls open. Book your session now. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I know I'm going to click this link and they're all going to be booked way out, like 6, 7 months. I have a hard time getting in. I click the link, and the first date that pops up is the next day, March 4th, which happened to be my dad's birthday, who had died in 2012. Wide open. Nobody had booked it yet, not a single caller. And I snagged it. I'm like, okay, now I get to go see if this was real or not. Am I crazy? Because I really was going, you are one crazy bitch. Okay. That was just like, no way. No way, no way, no way. Group call. This was like the third time I did a group call with her. Every time I did it, I always ended up being the very last person on the call. And she gets on there, and the first thing I hear is Lady Love, Lady Love. They're calling you Lady Love. And I'm like, what? I don't know that name. I hit my other questions about my family, and I said, okay, so I need to know. I had a past life regression on February 27th. I saw Yeshua. I need to know. Real, imprint, or totally smoke up my ass? She goes, real. It was real. I went, no, Jamie. You sure about that? She's
Yeah,
like, no.
that's not
She's
the
like,
answer that I was expecting, Jamie.
Exactly, right? I'm expecting the smoke up the ass response. And she's like, no. She says, here's the deal. You set such strong boundaries around you would only accept truth that needed to be shown to you as to why you were dealing with something. They didn't even tell her what I was dealing with. They were just like, because you're dealing with something, you set a parameter down so tight that you would only allow truth to be shown to you no matter what it was going to be. And when you set that down, that no matter what it would be, you opened the door for them to show you the truth. And I about fell off my chair. 3 months later, I get a message from Spirit. Richard Martini sends this to Richard Martini. And I was like, no. They chased me for 3 days with that message. So I literally, a man who I had only, commented, knew at a distance this way, hey, knew about his research. And I send him a message. So, hi, Rich, I had this thing. I want to send it to you. I ended up in Yeshua. It's not what the story was told. Was told to send it to you. Let me know what you think. He didn't open the file at that point in time, but by the way my message was written, he of saying it's not the story we were told, cued him. He reached out. He was like, "Can we set up a time?" I said, "All right." So we did a 5-hour Skype session, and he had me right back there. He asked questions I had no clue about. I've never read the Bible. I hated it. I didn't like it. It always grossed me out. I couldn't touch it. I don't own one. When my daughter's stepmother bought them one, I made them keep them in their bedroom and told them how that's for you, not mine. I couldn't even stand pictures of Jesus. I couldn't stand his name. It was all mud for me. And I had a session with Rich. And when he finally gets me into spirit after much discussion over the lifetime, and he gets me into spirit. And this was something he was looking for, and I didn't know. But as soon as Essie got close to me, my face turns red. I start crying. I didn't know at that time that that was a signature happening with every person that he talked to that Richard was filming. That every time Essie got close to him, red face, start crying. And it's because of the amount of energy he brings in.
So just again, just to bring the listeners along with you, who is Essie?
Essie is the man that everybody today calls Jesus.
Right. So she calls him Essie. Some people refer to that name as Isa.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's spelled ISA, sometimes it's spelled ISSA. Different people pronounce it differently. So I'm just bringing everybody along that Shannon's aversion to the name Jesus is so strong that she doesn't like even using the name. And even Yeshua is a little too close to home. So she prefers using the Essie or Isa variation of his name.
Yeah. And that literally came from having those sessions, from having that past life regression and then um, doing that session with Rich. And then, it was probably a couple years later that then Jamie was going to be out in California and Essie shows up. I'm doing the dishes. And he's like, "I need you to message Rich." I'm like, "What?" It's like, "Message Rich Martini." He's showing me the pictures that it's like, and he's like, "Jamie's going to be in LA. The two need to meet." And he had a woman with him that I didn't recognize. I figured that out now. The woman was Richard's friend, Luana. But, this is where, spirit, when you start opening up the doors to allow them to interact with you, you never know who's going to show up and you never know what you're going to find out either. But, it's taken me since 2015 to get comfortable. Now I've trans-channeled him in front of you. I've trans-channeled him for the book.
I was going to say you trans-channeled him a lot for the book.
It took a lot to do that. I mean, that was in the later sessions at the end of 2017 and 2018, because there were times that Matt would be like, "Hey, can you let him in?" And I would already have somebody else was channeling and, they would go, "No, she can't handle it yet. She can't handle it yet. We're going to talk for him." But the very one in at the beginning of the healing section of part 2 of the Stones of Wisdom book, where he talks. He did, that was the point that I had finally allowed him to fully come in and take over. And that's only a piece of that transcript. Matt had like the most fantastic time that day. He told me it ended up being like about a 4-hour conversation, actually, between the two of them. And I couldn't listen to the recording. That, yeah, I read the transcript of it, but I couldn't listen to it.
I'd want to jump in here really quick. Those of you that are still with us, thank you for hanging out.
Sorry, we ended up on a tangent.
Yeah, this is, Shannon and I, for those of you that have had conversations with us in the past, know that we end up having long conversations. This talk about Shannon and her book and the journey with, I refer to him as Issa, not Essie. Essie sounds like a pet name that she has for him. Which is very cute. So Essie and Shannon have a very fascinating relationship. And again, this book is, it has part of that story in it. So if you're interested in learning more, definitely pick up the book. If you're interested in working with Shannon, Shannon is offering the listeners of season 5 a 50% discount. There is a code within the website that you need to use just to help identify that you actually came from the live season versus people that are listening to this afterwards. If you're listening to this afterwards and you want to work with Shannon, let her know that you came through the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit. She's a regular speaker here, so I'm sure there's something going on at the moment. And if not, I'm sure she can work something out with you. I don't want to speak for her, but I know her a little bit. So for those of you that are with us, thank you for staying this long. I am going to sign off. So Shannon, thank you so much for being here. Shannon's website is a little bit tricky to kind of work through over the it's kind of long and it's difficult to kind of read out letter by letter, but the website will be in all of the descriptions of any platform that you're listening to. If nothing else, you can always reach out to me and I will connect you with her for sure. So
you can also find me on the Lighthouse page on Facebook. We do some live shows, and including free readings, 1-question readings, and sometimes we're on Blog Talk with that too.
So what is the full name so that people can find it?
The Lighthouse.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lighthouse. It's got a big blue lighthouse background on it. It's a public page, but that is it's listed as a podcast page on Facebook. We are going to be branching into Instagram as well. We've got a page on Instagram already. We just haven't gone live on it yet. But that one, I work with another medium, Tina Godin, out of Massachusetts, and a healer, Natasha Scott, who Daniel has interviewed before. She's in Canada, and the three of us work together. We do a lovely discussion, and then we usually will do a free readings to people who join in and put in the chat, or if we're on Blog Talk, it's by phone. Yeah, so we've got that going on, and you can find my Facebook page as well. I have a public page, Shannon Johnson, Metaphysical Facilitator, that you can follow. So I'm out there on those platforms, but Daniel and I have some work to also put together too, I think. They keep telling me that there's stuff that we're supposed to do, and I keep hearing about the podcast too, that there's some stuff going on.
So for people that are for Shannon that missed the conversation that I had with her team, and I'm going to repeat this. Shannon is a part of my membership. I had 2 ideas for 2 different memberships, where one was focusing on the light workers, where we would support each other and help each other grow and explore and experiment with each other in a safe environment. And then I had this other membership where is basically for people that are interested in these conversations but aren't necessarily technically a light worker. And I had this idea for them to be two separate models. And just last week, it kind of came to me that they're actually one membership. And so I reached out to all of the speakers of Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit, and I said, hey, come and join me. Being that you're a speaker, I'm giving you free access as a member. Come and play with us, and we will develop and explore and create new ways to not only help the light workers, but also expand everybody that's in the community. We get together every week, have these kinds of conversations. I'm going to be organizing special sessions with Shannon and Sandra and Kitty and anyone else that decides to join us in the future, so that we can share classes or lessons or sessions where they share something with the community outside of the weekly calls. And then I'm also going to be creating spaces where people that either want to become light workers or they consider themselves light workers, and I know this term, I use this term very loosely. I'm going to create moments where we can get together and chat and support each other and explore and experiment in a safe environment. And so there's a lot of ideas that I have about this platform. We're still very small, so it's still early days. But the advantage is that you get a lot of personal attention. So this week, it was basically a private conversation between me and one of the members. Last week was the same thing. And so there's a lot of personal attention, and that's going to continue. I do want to keep it an intimate kind of personal element, even as we grow and as we have more members. I want to have that same energy within the community. So come and join us. Information is on the website. You can also find it from my own website as well. Anyway, Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit website, there's a link that says play at the top of the menu, and that will take you to the information on the membership. So anyway, Shannon, thank you so much for the time. Lovely to always have a conversation with you and your team. I look forward to whatever gets developed in the future between us.
Right.
Your team.
I always feel like there's like these things out there and they just go, here's a little candy.
Well,
now figure it out how to open it.
Your team wants you to channel them more often, and I'm happy to provide the platform for that. So I invited them to come and join us in the membership as often as they want, just so you know.
Oh. All right.
So guys,
right,
thank you for being here with us. I apologize for the length of the conversation. I'll see you guys tomorrow, for those of you that can join us live, and for those of you that are listening to the recordings of the replays. The next episode is with Kristen Newman. She joined us a couple seasons ago. She's coming back. And so we'll start off the day with her, and that will be at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So I will leave you guys with being spirit, being human, and simply being from love. And I will bid you all a wonderful rest of the evening or day ahead of you, and I will see you guys tomorrow or in the next episode. Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Thank you for being part of this incredible experience. We hope that this session has inspired a new level of understanding within you, allowing you to expand more easily into the essence of your true self and become an even more powerful alchemist in your own life. We invite you to listen to the session again and again in order to go deeper each time and expand even more. Have it be via the replays or the unlimited access package. If you have enjoyed being part of this event, we invite you to tell your friends so that they can join us in the future. We are grateful that you are here, and we thank you for co-creating this experience with us. Until next time, we leave you with being spirit, being human, and simply being from love.